Hey, guys.
Hey,
How's it going?
how's it going, Pat?
It's going.
Naran, Dom?
I'm fine.
Aki.
Yes, Romeos are all accounted for.
All right.
So what day is it?
It is Romeo Day. Welcome to
One
our
and only,
viewers.
Aki.
Oh, thank you for cutting my picture off.
Yes, viewers, listeners, thanks for joining us once again. Always glad to have you on board.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Don't cut Naran's picture off.
And guys, seriously, we've been asking you for like 30 some odd episodes, but it's about freaking time you guys subscribed. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
A resounding yes.
Please subscribe.
So please subscribe.
Yeah,
if you haven't
stop
already
making
done
us
so.
beg, for God's sake. We're too old for this shit.
Right.
Likes
Oh, my
and comments.
Yes.
Naren, you have such style.
Yeah.
And Grace.
A
No,
diplomat.
I didn't say grace. I said style. A style all your own.
Hey, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? The world is waiting.
That might be interesting for us to talk about.
I disagree. Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Perfectly entitled.
There you go.
Whether smartphones are making us dumber.
Smartphones.
What, you know what smartphones are, right?
Yeah, I know what they are.
Is that like my flip phone?
But
He knows what a smart aleck is when he hears one.
can I make a suggestion?
Of
Because
course.
it's not just smartphones.
Yeah.
Technology in general.
Making us dumber.
Yeah.
Take us there, Dominic.
Well, being an accountant, so I use all these programs like Excel and PowerPoint. You know, so it's not, I don't use it on my phone, but it's technology in general.
Has it made you dumber?
No, quite the opposite.
Well,
Okay.
Quite
How,
the-
how so?
interesting. Okay.
Well, it's stuff like I'm old enough to know that these days, or the times that these did not exist. So we had like 13-column ledgers and things that I can do today. It's incredible compared to
When you were working with an abacus.
well, just about, I mean, the analysis and the it's funny, but
Don't
it's
spit
true.
your water out.
It's true. So
Just let me know to duck, okay?
yeah. So it's more than, for me personally, it's more than smartphones. But even smartphones, they haven't made me dumber. I think they made me more efficient in many ways.
Do you think that's true in general? Because you talked about how it applied to you, but do you think the same is true of other people?
I like to consider myself a power user. So I think for me, it's made me more efficient. But if you just use it to get by, yeah, maybe. Like, of course, I don't remember that. I don't have to remember all the phone numbers because we have so many of them, thank God.
Well, let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
In accounting,
Yeah.
when it comes to some of the fundamental stuff of accounting, where you put a certain expense or not, when you have a tool that just asks you questions in terms of what were your expenses for this quarter, or what was when it's itemized in such a way where if you just put the items in and then it decides where to put it into your spreadsheet, does that take away a little bit of your of usage of your knowledge to the point where maybe you don't remember, hey, where was this supposed to go again on my ledger?
It doesn't decide for you. You have to give it the programming, like just even Excel.
Well, that's a spreadsheet. So now imagine an AI program
Yeah.
that you can verbally, speak to it and say, hey, these are the expenses for this quarter for this, and that, and it just does everything for you and pops it out.
Yeah, but there is,
pops out a
even AI, there is some input that you need to put first, and then they'll do it. I mean,
Yeah, I think that the notion of garbage in, garbage
yeah,
out
yeah.
will continue to apply. Because if you can't articulate, even if you're looking at an AI scenario,
But that's not what I said, right? Like if an AI is built properly and the interface becomes, either verbal or you can throw in a whole bunch of expenses and just put scan a bunch of pieces of paper or connect it to your SAP system where it's got all of the expense vouchers of everyone and so on, and it just takes everything in and it gives your annual report out as a company.
But Naren, the point I'm trying to make is whether you're building a model by keystroking instructions or you're verbally communicating with an AI and letting it know how it should construct a model? In other words, what are some of the outputs that you require?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the AI model exists for an accounting firm
who's
already built it.
Who's built it?
It's built. It's been built.
But who's built it?
Well, he's saying using technology doesn't dumb you or does dumb you. I'm just suggesting it does.
And the example you give me is that a good AI,
yes,
when you're evaluating the results, you see there's some mistakes, you tell it, and it learns.
Yes.
So next time it takes that expense and puts it
exactly.
in the right account.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Like the example I'm giving is that a software has been built around an AI system that does accounting for a firm. Now, that firm used to have 30 accountants working for it. Now it has 3 bookkeepers that just throw everything into it, and it comes out with the results. Now, my question is, does that dumb down the accounting profession? Because now all of a sudden...
No, I don't think so.
So I think the accounting profession will be redefined. Like most professions will be redefined with the advent of AI.
But does that make human beings dumber as in society over time? And my answer to that is yes. I think it will. I think there's going to be a lot fewer people who are going to understand fundamentals when they don't have to. Why would you teach a guy how to build a ledger, what to put into an asset, an asset versus I forget all these a liability, and so on, right?
I'll tell you why.
And credits and debits and all this other stuff.
Because there's always analysis that needs to be done, and the person has to understand.
Right. So now you need someone who can analyze the data, but not necessarily put the data in the right.
I agree with
column.
Noran. I mean, the way I would equate it to the assembly line. I mean, it's a new form. It's a high tech assembly line where you have these feeders of the information, as you pointed out, very routine, very sequential. You feed the information into the system, and the system in your AI does all the heavy lifting and all the work. But all you're doing is it's like an assembly line. It's a conveyor belt.
So I see
AI.
I see it very differently from you guys.
Okay.
I think that to a very large extent, it comes down to personal choice. What I mean by that is, as the technology gets increasingly sophisticated and powerful, how we as individuals choose to leverage those capabilities is what will determine whether we continue to develop our minds and continue to raise our intelligence level, or whether we accept being dummied down. So
you're saying it's a personal choice?
To a large extent.
Okay.
Maybe not for everyone, but to a large extent. I'm going to use the example of the smartphone. So when we were kids growing up, which I know for some viewers seems like a very, very long time ago.
It was a very long time.
The phones with a dial. For our younger viewers.
Stop.
So if we had been told that someday we would be able to hold a supercomputer in the palm of our hand and to use that incredible level of technology and power, capability, in order to do myriad things, computational things, information gathering things, data analysis things, all kinds of things, endless possibilities.
Uber Eats.
Right? We would have probably reacted, most of us would have reacted in an excited manner. Some people might have been intimidated by that, but I think for us, it would have been met with excitement and a world of possibilities.
Okay.
Because I think most of us would have thought, this is going to free up my mind, right, to imagine things and create things. I'm going to leverage this technology to accomplish those things that couldn't otherwise be accomplished, and or to do it in a time frame that couldn't otherwise be achieved.
Okay, and isn't that what has happened with smartphones?
I don't think so.
Okay, why not?
Because I think that most people are using smartphones for a combination of activities that are leading to most people becoming quote unquote dumber.
Okay, so they're using their phone as a pastime and as an entertainment vehicle.
As an entertainment device.
Okay.
As a means of enabling rapid fire communications.
Yeah, but okay.
That are causing people to lose their ability to communicate effectively, I will argue efficiently,
Okay, so that's one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is for all of the content that's in your phone, there's someone who created that content who's using that same phone to actually be creative and be a producer and a director and putting that content that the other person is now viewing.
Depending on the type of content you're referring to.
Yeah, I'm talking about Instagram and TikTok and
Yeah,
some
but
of the stuff that.
But if the content is someone posting a picture or a short clip of themselves eating a meal, I don't see that as contributing to increasing the overall level of intelligence of the general population.
No, but there are the arts. I mean, this is an Aki argument more than it is mine. But you can argue that there are creatives out there who are creating short form videos that other people are enjoying. Now, again, that's not everyone.
I'm not arguing otherwise.
So
I'm talking about intelligence. Is it contributing to raising the general level of intelligence of the population? I never said that it wasn't entertaining a growing number of people.
Well, again, there's the flip side. So I agree on an aggregate. I would agree with you if people are using it for entertainment purposes only, that it is in general dumbing folks down. But it is a tool that other people use as a creative tool, as a work tool,
a research tool.
Here's the issue I have with creativity. Someone can say, Pat, where you used to use 30 words to describe something, I'm using 5 words and an emoji. Mm-hmm. I'm applying my creativity. It's so much more efficient. My point is, you're losing the ability to communicate in a way that reflects a higher level of intelligence.
And that's a personal choice again.
So I think that's why I'm saying, to a large extent, it comes down to how we individually choose to use or leverage the phone, the smartphone, or technology, more broadly speaking, to your point, Dominic.
Yeah.
So, okay. So
because when I text, I want to make sure that all the words, the grammar is perfect. So I don't do these,
Well, I do voice to text, so I don't worry about that. I just speak what I'm going to say, and it writes it out for me, and I send it.
Well,
and I use technology because I don't feel like typing.
But depending on the sophistication of the technology you're using, especially in the English language, there are many words that are phonetically the same.
Well, no, it's intelligent enough to figure it out. I mean, it's rare that there's a mistake. So I'll read it before I'll send it out.
Okay.
And it's
but you say you read
rare.
it before sending it out.
Of course,
Right. You say, of course. Many people don't.
Well, that's
and I question how many people would be able to actually identify that there's a typo or spelling mistake.
Yeah, I think I think the speech to text algorithm is actually smarter than the people they're voicing it, because they can put the right there as opposed to THEIR versus THERE or whatever, better than the actual individual most times.
If that's true, then
unfortunately,
perhaps it supports the point that the technology of the smartphone is actually contributing to people being dumber.
So listen,
it makes sense.
I do agree with you that technology is making people dumber, but I think it's more insidious than that. Yeah, thank you. Trying to use big words here.
Well, if you had been using voice to text,
it would have said it would have been perfect. Exactly. So now you know why I do that. Okay.
We're in the middle of the plate.
Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. In any case, thank you, and you're welcome. The point I'm making is something that I've been thinking about quite a while, and it has to do with the fact that all of the tools that we have now in technology, including the smartphone, have been built on top of platform. So when you get to a point when you've now got a tool set that can do speech to text, when you have an AI tool set that can do the job of an accountant or a bunch of other types of jobs, when you have a tool set that can do all of these things, and people are now learning how to use the tool set, and it's now AI that's designing and building these things as people ask for it, who is going to understand the fundamentals required to build it from the ground up?
Who's going to engineer the AI?
Who is going to fix it when something breaks? So my issue is that fundamental understanding of things is getting is getting more and more difficult because our understanding is growing by leaps and bounds. And as our understanding of technology, as our understanding of quantum physics, of cosmology, of any subject you talk about, as we dig deeper and wider and get into these things, and as our knowledge grows, who's going to be able to understand from fundamental level all the way up to
Right.
where
So
we're at?
what you're saying fundamentally is that we're delegating the builder ability to technology.
Yeah, and at a certain point, if everything breaks, if there's a huge sunstorm and it's like an EMP and all of our technology gets burned out, who's going to build it up to where
But
it is?
who's suggesting that the need for subject matter experts disappears?
It's the fundamental knowledge versus
Well,
the built-up knowledge.
But to be a subject matter expert, you should have a really good understanding of the fundamentals.
It's getting
all the building blocks.
It's
Right.
getting more and more difficult, is my point, and I think technology is hastening that difficulty and making the task that much more difficult as time goes on, because the level of knowledge that someone now has to have from a fundamental perspective, from a physics layer perspective, all the way up to, I'll make an example. You've got AI now that's writing code. They're writing code in whatever language you want it to be, C++, whatever code it is.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. I had made the comment earlier offline that, who's going to be writing the compiler to be able to take the code and compile it into ones and zeros. And one of you guys said, well, the AI will. Mm-hmm. You're right. What happens to that knowledge from a human perspective? If the AI is writing the compiler, if the AI is writing the code that's being compiled, who is now going to remember?
I come back to my earlier comment,
which is,
just because you rely on machines to perform an increasing level of workload doesn't mean that you allow human knowledge to disappear.
Well,
you have to continue investing.
But there's no need for it anymore.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Before there was a need for people to be able to write a compiler.
There may not be as widespread a need for it.
Yeah, but if it's minuscule, how many people are going to actually want to do that?
That's part of the planning process. We need to identify, right, what percentage of the population, or in sheer numbers, how many people we need in specific areas of expertise in order to ensure that we can provide the oversight and that we continue having the necessary knowledge.
It's also
so you want to engineer society that way.
Right.
Good luck.
But it's also the economics of it, right?
Well, sorry, I much prefer a scenario where AI is going to be involved, mm-hmm. where we anticipate both the opportunities and challenges that AI will present.
I agree with you. I'm just saying it's not feasible.
And ensure that we have a transition plan that is going to be as orderly as possible, as opposed to finding ourselves one day waking up and saying, oh my gosh, we have all these capabilities.
And we forgot how to do it.
What do we do?
And we forgot
what do we
how
do
to do
in
it.
terms of job planning? What do we do in terms of career planning? What do we do in terms of transitioning people in and out of the workforce? How do we deal with machines that have umpteenth time the ability human beings have of developing things?
Yeah. Just
we know it's coming.
Yeah, but
there's no time like the present to prepare for it.
Right.
You've been warned,
right.
people.
But right now, I mean, we see what the trend lines are. I mean, the economics of this is right now, most companies, they don't fix things. There's no repairs anymore. There's technology. When technology malfunctions, then you replace it. But there's no more digging into the thing to try and fix it.
Well, our AI overlords will fix that.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. But we're going towards that's ultimately that's the apex of it, right? Sorry, but that's the apex of it. And what I'm saying is, and it's also economically. I mean, that's the logical thing to do. Because it's much cheaper for manufacturers, for service outlets to operate that way. So if you have, I think we've had the experience when you have things that break down. Maybe a printer, for example. If you're not going to bother to try and fix that printer, it's cheaper to get another printer.
Yeah, because the ink cartridge costs more than the printer.
Talk about electronic component. Work with me here.
Can I bring a parallel? For example, is car technology making us better or worse drivers?
That's a good example.
Yeah, probably worse drivers.
Worse drivers.
Both.
Really?
Yes.
How on the positive side?
Yeah.
Because you have cars today that are so sophisticated, they will alert you
lane assistance.
when a vehicle is closer to you than it should be,
Yeah, or you're falling asleep.
or you are
Yeah.
handling the vehicle in a way that may be perceived as risky or dangerous to yourself and to others. So in that way, I see it as being extremely helpful.
I think somebody drives an expensive car.
Mine barely starts in the morning.
At the same time as the increased sophistication of automobiles has brought on more potential distractions to the driver than we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So we used to worry about, the radio's being played too loudly. That's a distraction. Well, now you have multiple screens in a car. You have all kinds of different gadgets and buttons that'll do all kinds of things for you.
Yep.
Massage your seats and
Yes, for those who own expensive cars, even massaging your seats.
He's beaming, folks.
What is it, shiatsu?
No, but to Dominic's point, how much weight do we put in? That's fine. You're right that this technology could be helpful, good guidance for us. But when our basic instincts, our vision, our reflexes,
backup cameras,
our reflexes, right? I mean, those skill sets are being diminished, arguably, and is that positive?
So, like many things, technology, smartphones, other technologies are double-edged swords.
Yeah, for certain people, it's going to help them.
One-sided coin, right? Yeah. There's opportunity and possibilities on the one hand, and there are challenges and risks on the other hand.
So can we maybe throw a taboo subject out there, or maybe not taboo, but people. Okay, for people who want to be lazy, for people who just want an easier life, don't want to be bothered with learning, improving themselves, doing more with their lives.
Where do I sign up?
Just get a smartphone and use the technology that's available.
Yeah.
So technology, to your comment of double-edged sword, I fully agree with that comment. It depends on the individual and how they use it.
Which is what I said a while back.
Well, I wasn't listening.
He doesn't remember.
You would be well served to listen when I speak. It comes down oftentimes to personal choice.
Exactly.
It is. And that's the double-edged sword. The problem that I have with society, I have many, but one is that I believe that unfortunately it's not just a bell curve, but it's a skewed curve. And there aren't as many people as we would want to be on the side of using the technology to better themselves and to better society, unfortunately.
So I don't think...
And that's not a good thing for society.
So do you think that's always been true?
Human nature.
No, I don't know. No, I don't know about that. I think the level of entitlement that's in society now, in Western society, in North America, is something that we haven't seen before. I think people were much more willing to get off their ass and do stuff and work versus sitting in their parents' basement playing video games. I'm pulling an Aki here, but I think against the youth.
Oh,
anyway. So
what's a youth?
My cousin Vinny, watch it. It's a good movie.
It's a movie for our younger viewers.
Again, voice to text would have caught that.
Exactly. Thank you. But my point, which I completely forgot at this point, had to do with the fact that
been spending too much time on the smartphone, have we?
But, you know, technology has definitely made us more efficient. Think about, you don't have to stand in line at a bank.
No, definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
all the stuff that wasn't worth your time.
But it also makes you more lazy.
So again,
potentially.
Again, I don't think it makes you more lazy.
No.
I don't think it makes you harder working.
Potentially.
I think those are human characteristics.
Exactly.
So let me.
What
can
it
accelerate
does, what it does,
or amplify
is based on your traits and your preferences and
Exactly.
choices.
Right.
Yeah.
It enables them.
And it'll amplify, I think,
So
as well.
if you want to be lazy and be entertained passively by content on your device, it's never been easier to do so.
Yeah. Let me.
If, on the other hand, you want to spend your time productively
Yeah.
it's never been as easy for you to do.
Exactly.
To learn stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
But
100%.
here's a very clear example. I
I
think.
agree with you.
Note it.
Mark the date.
Mark the date and the hour. Okay.
And he was listening.
Right. Anyway, so here's a very basic illustration of this, right? If you look at the cashiers, okay, now this is, going back to, I mean, this is from what my parents would tell me. Cashiers, right? Everything would be added up. Like at some point, even before cash registers, manual cash registers, people were doing this job by adding up items manually and getting it right like 90% of the time, right? So now, of course, a cashier, as we've all had the experience, will have difficulty being able to calculate, giving you, the proper change because everything is so automated.
You're still paying with cash?
Assuming you are.
Cash is king.
Assuming
but no,
you are.
But you're right.
I get the point,
you're right.
right?
Let's say you're supposed to get like $4 and some
Right.
odd change,
So-
and you want to
so-
give them $1 so you can get a $5 bill
Right.
back
Exactly. Right.
instead of
Total confusion.
So you had-
it's like they're looking at you like, what do you want? What do you want?
So you had like as a person, that person from that generation, they were really, I mean, they could calculate, right? There was some mind power there
Yeah.
that was always
Lost.
working.
Mental
That-
math.
all gone.
all gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now
but-
all gone.
Yeah, but
Correct.
actually, cost benefit.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of knowing to give change?
No, but I'm saying in terms of like
But it's mental acumen. I mean,
Yeah,
at a
no,
certain
but that's-
point,
people, the quality of people and quality of intelligence.
But
the
it goes
quality
to,
of people. Wow.
it goes
Did,
to what
did we go there?
Goes to what Pat said. It's an individual thing. It's what you
That was
perceive as being important.
Yeah, but the norms that I'm concerned
Yeah.
about how the norms have changed. Back then, people were good in arithmetic. Now, very small proportion.
Now they're good at TikTok.
Now, a very small percentage of people are actually.
Yeah.
Thank you. They're good at TikTok,
Yeah.
and they're not very poor in
But-
arithmetic. Where the standards that was mainstream, and those were the norms
Yeah, but
back in the day.
every cost has a
I
benefit.
know I sound like an old Romeo, right?
You sound like an.
Old Romeo.
Well, that's redundant.
Every situation has a cost and a benefit. And I think technology's benefit is much more than a cost. For example, people are not as good with.
Well, look
math
at
and
productivity.
shit.
Look at
Yeah.
the productivity of people
Yeah.
in the first world. Look at how our cost of living has come down over time. Look how all of these things are based on
That's the flip
technology,
side of it.
right? And productivity has gone
And
through the roof.
it
And
has-
AI is going to make it go
It
further.
has
through the roof.
democratized purchasing. With all the technology available, you can look online and see where it's cheapest.
So if we're becoming
every-
accessories, right? If people are becoming accessories,
We have.
right?
We
We're
are.
more productive, but productivity does not equal intelligence.
Well, that's what this is what my worry is over time. And Pat doesn't have the same worry I do. You're saying that there's going to be enough people that are going to, or society is going to figure out how to put enough people in these roles so that fundamental knowledge doesn't die out. I'm thinking 3, 4, 5 generations from now, 100 years from now, who's going to figure out how to put a transistor together?
You won't need one.
No, you will still need transistors.
Well,
You should. I mean, unless something else comes out,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
But who's going to come out and say, okay, well, this is how a piece of a transistor should be put into a piece of silicon to be able to
See,
whatever. Like a
the
computer
example-
will do that.
I don't think we can afford
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
lose that knowledge at a human level.
But how do we
It
not?
just doesn't need to be as widespread as it is today.
Okay, so a handful of people on the planet are going to know fundamental.
Well, with every
Technology.
revolution, whether it's agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, information revolution, with every revolution, we have seen capabilities brought about through technology and otherwise that have afforded most members of the population the luxury of forgetting a whole bunch of stuff that they otherwise would have had to know. But some of the knowledge had to be carried forward.
I guess it's the PhD students that are going to continue
I don't see
this.
this as being any different.
Because the example you give, Naran, is like, let's say you have a telex machine in your basement, finding somebody to fix it. You don't need that.
No, you don't need that.
No. So, but in 100 years, transistors, I mean, chances are, something else will have replaced it. And the knowledge will progress at the same time.
I just hope so.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's just because
Your pessimism.
it's just because I've seen it from when I was in school and the amount of stuff that we were taught, and how little of it I retained because I didn't really need it in my day-to-day work. And I'm thinking, okay, well, electromagnetics and how electromagnetic fields work and all of this stuff. I mean, I took the courses. I never really learned it properly. But who's going to understand?
But you took a certain path in life.
Yes.
That didn't require you to apply all of the knowledge that you acquired.
Correct, yeah.
If you had taken a different path, you may very well have.
However, if there's an AI that can now do that job, who is going to now retain that knowledge?
We still need a segment of the population to acquire and retain that knowledge.
Yeah.
Who's going to do it, though? Is it?
I call them subject matter experts.
Right.
I think we're going to require them in all fields. And there'll probably be individuals who are built in a way where they want to volunteer for that. They're interested in acquiring that knowledge and carrying it forward.
I think one situation that will apply to what you were saying is cars. Cars will become like cell phones. After a while, there's no more support for your cell phone. You gotta buy another one. Cars will be the same way. Get to a point, you can't keep a car 30 years because so much software, these cars now, they won't upgrade it, they won't keep up with it. You can get to a point, you have to get rid of your car.
No, but if that's the case,
I hear
Dominic,
Elon
I
having
think,
an orgasm.
Only you would make
I
that.
think that what you're describing
That analogy
leads more and more towards a utility-based model.
Exactly.
So fewer people will own cars.
Yeah.
Because what is a car used for?
Yeah.
The people who use them for purely recreational purposes and want to take them around a track, an oval, whatever, they'll continue to own cars. They're going to be in the minority. People who use vehicles for transportation purposes aren't going to have the same requirement as society has today.
Especially when the car can come to you by itself
It'll
whenever
come to
you
you by
need it.
itself. It'll drive itself.
Yeah.
The requirements will change, but
Okay.
we're looking really way out into the future now.
Yeah.
This is not 10 years out.
So what you're saying is that there's always going to be this what I would call this knowledge elite that will always have
It's elite.
No, they will call them what you like, but you'll have this small because we understand that this is not the majority of society.
The 1%.
You're gonna have some people in society that are going to be whatever title you want to give them, but they're going to have that knowledge, and they're the ones that are going to be
In the same way as today, I look to certain scientists. I'll use physicists as an example, who understand things in their most basic form and are also capable of talking at a level that most of us can't comprehend or even follow.
yeah.
Right? They have deep knowledge, deep understanding. They're subject matter experts. Not all society needs to fit that bill.
But as an ideal,
I wish and I hope that is exactly what happens. I just have my fear point is that multiple generations from now, there's going to be gaps in our knowledge. And if something happens to the machines, if there's a sunstorm and it knocks out everything on Earth and everything gets fried, who's going to rebuild that infrastructure?
So here's my concern. My concern is not your concern.
Okay.
My concern is that we as societies really depend on our governments to help with these, I'll call them transition plans.
Yeah, good luck.
That means, but I don't believe governments can do it alone. They're going to have to encourage a high degree of collaboration with the private sector, with some of the leading minds in society, in order to ensure that whatever vision is captured is a relatively accurate one, and that they also solicit the assistance of people who have skills that you don't typically find in government circles to help define a plan that will allow us to transition from here to there in an orderly, effective, and efficient manner.
Yeah, and retain knowledge, basically.
My concern is that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not to the degree that it needs to.
So then my scenario
Because I don't have
plays out.
confidence in government.
So you think my scenario can play out,
Exactly.
which scares the shit out
For
of
the
me.
reason I outlined, and not just because, technology is going to advance and yada, yada, yada.
Okay. So for me, it's got to be the universities that have to...
Because so what I see today, a lot of the discussion within government, at least what we're made aware of, is how do we put the brakes to this? How do we put guardrails in place? How do we slow the progress? They're not looking at it the right way.
Well, they're afraid of
Are you
Skynet
talking about
and
AI?
But the way they're framing it is all wrong, because you're not going to prevent technology from evolving.
well, who's running government? These are 70, 80-year-old people who have no
we-
idea what AI is.
Oh no, but
Well, or younger people who are more concerned with wokeism than they are with.
But guys,
Exactly,
we're talking,
yes.
we're talking about AI. So obviously, it's not just government people who are worried about the need for some guardrails.
No, but
here.
his point is correct. They are trying to stop it down.
It's the technology people themselves. The people behind
Some of
the
them, yes,
technology.
absolutely.
Like
Some.
the gentleman, the founder of the pioneer in AI.
OpenAI guy?
Yeah, no, not OpenAI guy. He just won the Nobel Prize for.
It doesn't matter. But the point is that if you have companies that are today involved in advancing the state of AI, you need to have a framework that allows them to do it at the pace they want to do it, while ensuring that broader society is not going to suffer as a result of those advancements.
Guardrails.
Well, guardrails. Let's see a collaborative, cooperative process put in place where we put all the measures in place and all the resources in place to capitalize on the opportunity that's ahead of us, while ensuring that we're mitigating the risks.
Okay.
We'll call it the Sarah Connor Foundation.
And for those who don't get the joke,
Has to do with
Watch.
Skynet and the Terminator.
Terminator.
That's right. That's right.
I didn't get it.
You did.
No. So
One person got it.
right. So
And a half.
what I'm talking about is I think that it's good that as a policy society we should be building a knowledge society right across the board in our schools. We should be building as much of a knowledge base as we can.
Agreed.
This is I think what we
So
need to
that
be
fundamental knowledge doesn't get lost. And to
fundamental knowledge is like, yes, you need to have your super intelligent people that are at that very high level. But everybody should be. I don't want people to be helpless as much as possible. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's the problem with the smartphones. So it's
Yeah.
a double-edged sword. And for those people who are inclined to be lazy or
It's not
to
good
be
for us
lazy,
to be helpless.
to not want to learn,
Yeah.
because there's people who are naturally curious. And for those people, I agree with you, Pat, that those people are going to seek out knowledge and are going to want to learn as much as possible on any topic because they're interested and they want to learn.
I'm very confident that the knowledge that will be necessary will remain. Because capitalism, a company that's got technology, will need it. So they'll make sure they have it.
Interesting. So you're thinking,
Yeah.
okay. So
So I'm not even worried about that. What I'm worried is what Pat is talking about. Personal choices. People are getting lazier and lazier by themselves, not because of technology. The work ethic is out the door more and more.
I think that's another topic.
And I think, but that comes back to human nature.
That's a cream puff
Exactly.
topic.
And yeah, human character, human character.
We'll give you
traits.
that topic, okay?
Technology is an enabler.
Yeah, well,
For good, for bad, it's an enabler.
That is true.
Right. We agree.
And that's this double-edged sword thing, right? But the thing that worries me, and I think also worries you, is that it's not a bell curve; it's a skewed curve. So you've got a bunch of people who will want to put in the work and learn, but then you've got this whole other larger group of people who will be tempted by the ease of what technology provides.
So I'll come back to a question I asked earlier. Is that not a reflection of society today? Is it not a reflection of society a generation or two or three ago?
Well, I'll answer it the same way I did earlier. I think this generation or these past few generations are a lot more entitled than before.
So I don't think human nature has changed. I think what's changed is technological evolution and innovation that has enabled a greater number of people to act on their choices.
look, Noran, when we were kids, we were spending 3 hours, 4 hours a night playing some freaking video game or outside. That to me is lazy. You're at home, especially if you're 30, 40 years old. If you're 18 years old, maybe, and you're playing video games, that is a waste. That is being lazy. So, yeah, technology is making you dumber.
Yeah, so there should be a counter to that, and I go back to really updating our education system so that we are privileging knowledge from the youngest grades possible. That we have people that are not like those cashiers that no longer know
But
arithmetic.
you know what, Aki?
I
You
want to
really
avoid
hate
that.
those cashiers,
I'd
don't
want
you?
people to know arithmetic. I mean, that's just a very basic
but you know what,
example.
Aki?
But that's the goal.
Curiosity comes when you're a kid. I don't know about you guys, but it's not something you learn after.
But how do you whet a child's appetite?
Exactly.
Well, exposure to different things. In my days, I went to the library and different books. No,
How do you whet a child's appetite? Exposure to different things. I mean, guys, don't take this out of context.
Oh my
Bring it
goodness!
up.
Come
Bring
on,
it
come
up.
on,
Bring it
all right,
up.
come on.
Bring it up.
no. In my case, I would go to the library and look
Exactly.
up different books. Read different books.
Yeah.
Science and
There's always going to be part of it that you have to be self-taught. There's always going to be that. Either you are or you're not.
Oh, that's something that's changing. So I would say to a far greater extent.
Right.
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 That trend only moves in one direction.
Okay.
And so this is where you talk about. I think one of the great challenges is revamping the educational
Absolutely.
system.
Yeah.
Because already today, and it's not
Good
new.
point.
It's been true for years now.
Sure.
Good point.
That the way schools from elementary to university are teaching students is suboptimal, to say the least.
Oh my God.
Right.
It's probably 20 years behind the times, if not more.
I've been saying that all they're teaching is history, because whatever subject, it's in the past. Math, science. These teachers haven't taken a refresher course in years, so they're teaching 10, 15 years ago.
But again,
Knowledge.
there are bright enough, creative enough minds out there that if we were to harness that horsepower,
Sure.
we can devise educational systems that would be rooted in real-time learning and developing knowledge and skills that are going to be applicable not only today, but for the coming generations.
So what you
Right?
say?
But that's not how we're shaping minds today.
So, Trump, if you need someone for your education department,
Wrong country.
So what you're saying, we should abolish schools and rethink it.
As they exist. I wouldn't say we need to abolish schools.
Yeah.
I think we need to reinvent
Reinvent.
schools
Right.
and the whole education
Right.
system.
And professional development. I mean, if you look at internships and apprenticeships again,
It's a lifelong endeavor.
that's what I'm saying.
So you
that's
guys-
what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
learning is
everything-
a lifelong
So
endeavor.
all these levels have to be in sync in order to optimize knowledge.
100%.
So
100%.
But
And in order to do so,
yeah,
because we talk about education, lifelong learning, you have to reinvent government.
yeah.
Because government as it works today, it doesn't fit the bill.
why don't we just make the Earth square now?
But at the base,
Or
Pat.
flat.
Well, it's already flat. We just want to make it square.
But at the base is what you're saying.
That's it.
That's what you said from the beginning. It's an individual thing.
No, but we're
You
gonna,
can change schools, you can change governments. But
It's an individual thing. And 100%, I stand by my earlier comment. What I'm saying is, if we really want to reshape society, we can't allow it to remain a purely individual thing. We need to redefine some of the core systems that exist in society today in order to ensure that we're better equipped and better prepared to deal with what's coming.
so change educational systems, change government,
Reinvent them.
reinvent them, make sure kids are in school learning the right things.
yeah.
It's hard, man.
it's hard.
I'm hearing what you guys are saying, and you're right. There's nothing wrong with what you said. Lifelong learning, education system, all of that's 100%. Yeah. How is that ever going to get started when we can't even decide on the simplest of things, and everything's polarizing from a government perspective, at least in the West?
Well, so my answer is I'm not sure. What I am certain of is that you are not going to slow technological innovation and progress. And so all it means is that there's going to be a growing disparity in society
Yeah, I agree.
between those who know, those who have, those who are capable, and those who complain because they have nothing or very little.
But they're staring at their phones 23 hours a day because it makes them laugh.
It's a choice. At the end of the day, it's a choice.
Accepting to be dumbed down.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not very optimistic.
On the plus side, technology will help in order to do, to dispense, distribute, the knowledge.
3D porn. Wonderful. Yeah.
That too.
That too. Porn and gambling.
No,
Do we have a code of ethics?
No.
We as in the Romeo? Clearly not.
I would never be.
Code of ethics, code of conduct, absolutely not.
Dress code, but
Hey, at least I got that one right. I'm wearing a shirt.
He's dressed. Give him that. He's
And I
dressed.
have pants.
Okay? We don't know about underpants. but
lowest
pants,
common
yes.
denominator.
Okay, so before this really goes where we don't want it to,
Yes.
final thoughts, Nuran?
Final thoughts. Well, this isn't a very optimistic discussion in my mind, because I agree with pretty much everything I heard around this table, and there's no fix to this. As far as there's no forget easy fix. I don't think there's a fix to it. Period. Because I don't think governments are going to change. I don't think the education system is going to change very quickly. I think technology is a roller coaster, steamroller that's coming at us and is not going to slow down. So yeah, I think we're all kind of screwed in a sense, and I just hope that fundamental knowledge doesn't die out in the next 2-3 generations.
I'm very optimistic. I have a lot of confidence in technology. I mean, yeah, there's always a bad side, but the positives will always outweigh the negatives. So far, it's been like that in my life, so I'm very optimistic. Sorry, Nara.
No, don't be sorry. I want to hold on to your optimism.
Aki.
Knowledge is power. Give knowledge to the people.
There you go.
We won't ask him how. He proposed it.
Yes, comrade.
My scroll.
Anyway, I enjoyed the conversation. I hope that our audience did as well. Please weigh in. We'd love to get your comments, feedback on this subject or any other subject, recommendations, suggestions on what you'd like to see the Romeos discuss moving forward. And on that note, have yourselves a great week. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.